All right, welcome everybody to Hobby Time with Team Bad Decisions. I'm Dan. I'm here with Nick, Matt, and Eric, and we are welcoming you here
What's up?
on Saturday, June 27th, 2020. What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing today?
We're
Good.
live.
It's hot. It's humid.
Matt is just like jamming out over there. His head is
Rock your socks off.
So, what's going on, everybody? What's everybody doing for hobby lately?
Matt, as the person that's currently doing it, why don't you start us off?
I paint all these models. Right now, I am so close. Last few stages, 1,000 points.
You're a little quiet, man. If you could move your mic maybe a little closer.
Yeah, I just
Eat
have
it.
to
There you go.
finish decaling about 369 Custodes tanks and finish edge highlighting. And then I just have to ink them all. And I get to get this 4,000 points of Adeptus Custodes out of my chaos-loving home.
Is it just the 9 tanks then for 4,000 points, or?
Oh man, I wish that's all it was. It is the giant plane. It is 5 dreadnoughts. It's a number of HQs. It's awesome. It is such a good haul. Many grab tanks.
I want to know how you paint in such a dark area.
It just makes everything look grimdank. I'm immediately getting Blanchitsu.
It hides all of my mistakes.
Everything is perfect in the dark.
There's a disclaimer that you have to have dimmed lights on to appreciate this commission job at the max capacity.
Yeah, please do not play in any heavily lighted areas.
Nope.
Oh.
So, how about you, Eric? What are you working on?
I just started building my gaming table. Got the frame of that built this morning. I had to take a break so I could do this stream. And I also have an Imperial Knight Army I should be finishing this week, as well as just finished building my 4 Keepers of Secrets and ready to go. So hopefully I can have those done in a day if I'm fast enough with them.
That's fast.
A little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Should be able to get done in a day. They're not hard.
So, Eric and I are working towards virtual Gen Con. That'll be July 30th to August 2nd. It sounds like it's 4 10-hour days.
It'll probably be longer than that. I think that's what they have us scheduled for, but we're talking about doing stuff after and possibly before as well.
Yeah. So it looks like we're going to at least have, still up in the air, 3 to 4 tables that are streaming for APOC game. That will be APOC with multiple sites. I know Cincinnati's one of them. I hear there's a spot in Pennsylvania as well. And
Toledo, potentially.
in Toledo, potentially. And then we are setting up some pro games, pro celebrity. I don't know how you want to say it, just because
Whichever you want to call
the 2
them.
we have confirmed, I would consider pros. That would be Nick Nadavati from Art of War.
Yep.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he's going to be donating some models for raffle from Art of War, and then he's going to be playing via Skype against our own Eric Gibbs there.
Nice.
And then
Tabletop Simulator or
Nope.
actual
We are
tabletop?
not allowed to even discuss tabletop, or they will. GW cuts everything from Gen
Yep.
Con.
That's not surprising.
So what Nick will be doing is he'll be talking to one of either the 5 of us that are doing it. Is going to be Eric, Marcus, Ian, and myself. So it'll be one of the other guys will be talking to Nick, and he'll be telling him how to move the models against Eric.
Interesting.
So and I think the idea is to have him on screen, kind of giving his this is why I'm doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and then Juice is the other one from I know he's on Team America, but I think he's doing the Battle Brothers group as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's at. He's been moving all over the place. So I think he's over there with Sean Naden now.
Yeah, both the guys are a lot of fun. Eric was telling me when he reached out to Nick, Nick didn't even give it a second thought or like 5 seconds. He's like, I'm in. You know, he's very excited to do stuff. So
Yep.
both are great guys. I've had beers with both of them, so they're both cool guys. I like them. And then we got some sponsor stuff coming through. Victoria Miniatures is going to be sending out squads to all the sites. And then we got the go ahead from Spellcrow, I believe. They're going to be sending us a model or a couple for raffle as well. And then I've got a couple other feelers out there, but I haven't got any other for sure's. And then
Yep.
Games Workshop is supposed to be sending something out. I'm not sure what that is at this point.
Yeah, we're waiting in anticipation for that.
Mm-hmm. So I personally am going to be on another event. It's going to be, I just said it before we got on here. Is it the Battle Against Cancer?
Yeah,
Okay. And
Sounds
it's-
right.
something like
Yeah.
that. It,
And
it involves
they don't-
cancer and battling.
Yeah. So they're not, it's an X-Wing event. They are usually a global event, but like everything else got canceled. So the organizer hasn't firmed up July 17th yet, but he's hoping for it, and he's hoping it'll be a 24-hour stream. So it'll just be one continuous 24-hour stream. So he asked me to make a few terrain videos for that. I'm not making X-Wing terrain. I don't want to just build lava rocks. So I thought I'll build something because I've been working on my Sisters of Battle as well. And so I'm going to be working on part of my terrain, display, whatever. So hopefully I'll have that all done and painted and ready to go for the table when we play for the Gen Con thing. So that's my whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good list.
Lots to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of planning going into this virtual Gen Con thing. I think we've got a pretty good handle on it, but I think we've still got quite a gap to fill to get there.
Yeah, especially with the other facilities that are potentially hosting as well. Because we still have not been in any sort of contact with them. So it
Right.
will be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yep. I know the armies that we're looking at. So, and then supposedly the other kind of cool thing is Games Workshop is probably going to be poaching a couple of the streams. So we're going to make sure that we have one table that's Games Workshop only models, most likely Eric's Slaanesh at the minimum. And then I don't know what he'll be playing against, so we haven't quite hammered that out yet. The other cool thing that we're going to try to sell tickets for is I keep calling it robot play, but it's really that remote that thing that Warhammer community put out a while ago about how to play remotely. Like you have one person listening, or sorry, you have like the player calling in via Skype and telling the player how to move the models, and then playing against somebody. So whether it be one of our guys or just another remote person, and we're going to be using 9th edition rules. So
Yep.
this whole thing will be a 9th edition event.
Yeah,
Or
it'll be the first one.
it's not really 9th edition. They're saying it's the new Warhammer. That's what they're calling it.
Yeah,
they're doing the AOS thing.
Games Workshop has never called Warhammer editions by a number. It's just Warhammer. So
Yeah.
there was a pretty big clarification that this is not 9th edition, but we can call it 9th edition.
Or 9th Age. I made
Yeah.
that mistake and I got slapped pretty hard.
yeah, they're pretty salty about 9th Age. So
Yeah. So,
Good try.
yeah. So, all right. Dan, what are you working on?
Nothing. Yeah, I've been playing
Nothing.
a lot of video games. Yeah,
Nice.
pretty much.
sounds like he's going to be building us some tables here pretty soon, or terrain
Yeah.
for tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
One of our marquee sponsors.
right.
So we'll be putting some terrain on tables from Archon 3D, right? That's the full name
Archon
of it.
3D Smiths.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
Yep.
I have it saved
Wow.
as a bookmark on my phone, so I don't have to memorize it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have a bunch of tables ready to go. Should be able. I mean, I got probably most of them printed already and ready to as far as that, but I'll have to paint them up. So, be good.
Awesome. we'll look forward to that. It'll be kind of cool. I love your chapel stuff from the past. So
Yeah,
you know, the gothic, those are sweet.
so if you're painting them up, that takes 4 tables worth of terrain I don't have to do.
Right.
Painting them anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna paint them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I-
Well, in that case, I'll just ship them over to you.
Yeah,
I'll come
I
get my
plan on
jersey
painting
anyway,
4
so
tables.
I'll show up at
Yeah.
your house with like 4 boxes,
Sweet.
cardboard boxes. Here you go. I'll trade you. Seems
Yeah,
like a good
no,
trade for me.
That
Yeah.
was that was definitely my plan. Is I thought I was on terrain painting.
That's fine. You want to paint them? I'll
Yeah,
bring
I
'em.
was going, man, I got a lot to do. I got to finish these Imperial Knights. I got 4 keepers. I talked about doing a Fabius Bile army and 4 tables of terrain.
And I have the bio for you.
in a month. And I was like, man, so if you're doing tables, I can probably get the Bile army done.
Yeah,
Nope.
he's going to be
I'm
refreshing
I'm
one of our
off of it
previous
now.
models.
Yeah, so the Bile would be kind of fun to play.
Yeah.
Kind of fun to play.
Yeah, I'm
He's gonna
excited
be-
for Bile.
Crazy fun to play. Yeah.
I want some strength 8 berserkers running around.
I haven't even fully looked through that book yet. Like, what would you be doing out of that book?
There's a lot of goofy things you can do with it. With the enhancement rules with Bile is pretty sweet, and their core Legion trait is +1 strength and movement. So I mean,
Insane.
yeah, you're already closing gaps, and the best part about it is you're not running, say, world eaters and all that, so you can throw in some psychers and have your berserkers be warp timed all of a sudden.
Right.
Or the same with possessed. Possessed are going to be nasty in that list. Having some T5 possessed or whatever, they're going to be able to mitigate some stuff. Blitz are going to be good in there. There's a lot of cool strats in there. I think one of my favorite ones that I saw was the whenever an enemy unit loses a model, you can pop this strat, and then for the rest of the game, that unit counts every model lost as 2. So you can start really thinning out some
Insane.
hordes, and it's not just for the rest of the turn or that phase; it's the whole battle. So you come down, you go, oh, I'm going to smite that unit. All of a sudden, yep, took a wound, and now you're -2 leadership on every dude you lose on top of that.
Sanity.
Which is good. I mean, in the long run, it's not going to be nearly as powerful in 9th due to the new morale
Combat
phase
attrition.
and all that, and with the combat attrition. But we still haven't fully seen all those rules yet. We're only getting a little bit here and there. So I'm curious what else those are going to evolve into.
So that combat attrition, I was looking at that recently. I thought, for some reason, I don't know how you guys felt, but I was getting the feel that 9th edition was gonna, I don't know, I think they do this every edition, that they give us this feeling like leadership's gonna mean something again.
Yeah.
And then it always seems to be like, I don't know, and this edition it felt like it a little bit more than last edition for sure. And then
I didn't play much 7th.
7th, everything was freaking fearless, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. 7th edition, everything was fearless.
Yeah.
8th edition, it turned into you could play a leadership game and make everything just run away. And I think they got sick of units just losing one model and then all of a sudden being -9 against Night Lords and all that. And then you're like, hey, I'm going to smite you and not that unit instead. I'm going to smite you and that unit instead. So it ended up turning into where leadership isn't nearly as big, but it's going to really buff some of these Horde units that people are going, why would I bring Horde? Why am I going to do this? Well, that's why, because you might only lose 2 or 3 models now instead of losing 15 on a leadership.
Because what's the rule? So 1 is always successful leadership pass, and then
Yep.
if you fail a leadership, then you
Lose one dude.
You count how many you lose it. Yeah, you lose 1 for sure. Then you count how many you lose it by, and you roll that many dice, and then you lose 1 for every 1. Correct?
No, from the way I read it is you lose 1 automatically, and then you roll a die for each remaining dude that's in there, and then on 1 another guy dies.
Oh, gotcha.
So
For every remaining dude.
yeah.
So if you roll like me, this is more devastating than 8th edition.
Yeah, so it could be cool. And I think there's going to be some neat combos. I think people are freaking out about the tri-point locking in as far as now being able to get out of combat, even if you're tri-pointed in. It just makes it so you got to tri-point 2 units. Like, there's ways around this.
Sure.
You know? And then if they're running, they have to roll, and on I think again on a 1 they lose a guy, and it's going to cost them 2 CP to do that, and then you can
I
still
thought it was
pop
for
your
everyone, wasn't it? Or is it just A1? You probably know better than I do.
You have to roll a die for each model, and on a 1/1 dies.
Right. Okay. So.
Yeah, for each roll of
Yeah.
a 1.
So it's like when the tank blows up, when the guys are inside.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure because the way you said that made me initially feel like you're rolling 1d6 for all of them. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought that's not the way I read it at all. Like I said, you're more into it than I am, so you would know better. So that's why I wanted to just confirm. But yeah,
I like that more as an assault player because.
Oh, it's way better. They needed to give. There needed to be a price to be paid to leave combat, and it was BS that guys could just walk away like.
Yeah. Like because you jump down, assault something, lock yourself in, and then take a step away, and everybody shoots it.
You were paying a price to get there in combat, as it is as a melee army, and then you were paying a price through Overwatch, etc., to get in, and then on top of that, they could just walk away if if there's any space left whatsoever. Which is just like, why am I playing a melee army?
Yeah, I think the cool thing about it is not only with the whole hitting a combat and then potentially running away even if tri-pointed in, you can still counter that as well. So they might lose 5 guys in that phase of running away, and then you can still go, oh, you guys left that managed to make it. I'm going to pop my 1 CP strat on top of that and roll a die for each guy within engagement rule right now as you're running away.
Yep.
And you're going to take that many more mortals.
Yeah, from the 6s.
It could be a huge double whammy coming on.
Yeah, I mean, you're essentially making it so that if somebody leaves combat, they're losing 33% of their troops.
Yeah, if not more.
Potentially.
Yep. Yeah. Which is great.
No, I do. I think that was the best solution I could have seen for them to solve that for sure. Like no question, that was a really good solution.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Assault's about to get a nice. I don't want to say boost because Assault's been really tough to do for a while, so it might be even more. I guess my better word is more of a balance.
Yes,
because it's still going to be a shooting game.
Yeah, one of our local stores just opened up to allow people to play, and that's when I went in and grabbed my keepers and was listening to some of them play, and they're like, oh, 9th edition is going to be the edition of Assault. I'm like, no, it's not. I said, this is...
You're playing the wrong game. Go play AOS if you want to play the Assault game.
I'm telling you right now, this is not the game for Assault. Mm-hmm. Assault's going to have a place, and under a good general's hand, it's going to be powerful.
Yeah. Yep. It's going to... Well, it's just like... it's like everybody taking. Like we see a few rules, and it's like everybody taking that Overwatch thing and just running with it.
Yeah.
And like, Tao's gonna suck. Tao's the worst. This and that, and then oh wait, never mind.
Yeah, I loved it. It was actually really funny. One of the things I saw on there, one of the memes was like, and all the eBay Tao's armies just went down. They were just canceled instantaneously.
Yeah. It's like that kid that burnt up his Warhammer fantasy army, but when it became Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, he melted it.
Yeah, wishing he had hurry up and get that fire extinguisher out.
Right.
Dude. Mm-hmm.
None of it's worth it until you let Games Workshop correct it at least, or try.
Nope. Yeah, I think this edition is going to be really good. I'm liking the rules that they posted. Again, we still only know tidbits of all of them. I guarantee there's going to be more.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's going to be weird situations that they're saying they're going to have bullets in just in case they happen. So, where these random things that you would never plan on going, now what do I do?
Right.
And it sounds like they're going to end up thinking a majority of these out and have them in a separate appendix, which is
So
awesome.
Do you think we'll get more than 3 pages of rules this time?
It's going to be a lot. Yeah, this is going to be...
It's the big book.
Yeah. A lot of rules. And I think it's good. I mean, we're playing a comprehensive war game and strategy. I mean, look at even Risk. Risk is more than 3 pages of rules. So, I mean, and this is way more advanced than that.
Yeah.
So,
I think they
Yeah.
oversimplified with 8th, and then they're trying to fix the oversimplification of
Yes.
it a bit with 9th, because it took a lot of strategy out of the game, and it took a lot of like. There was so much less in this edition as previous, and 8th was very good, but they took so much away from the strategy side of it that it just became okay. Who has the nastier, most current book, army, etc. Too often that even if
Yeah.
you did all the right things and your opponent was only a mediocre player, if they had just that list that was currently amazing, you were done. At best, you can tie, kind of situation. And I vehemently disagree with that mentality. I think that Ace, like the whole idea behind it is they're playing a strategy game that should have strategy.
yep.
Well, and hopefully they, I'd like to think that Games Workshop was playing the long game, bait them in and then hit them. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's true though.
Definitely think there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out. I'm curious on how much stuff, because I mean, even as of right now, it's a big change of the game. I mean, you're talking now this new outflank rules again, which I'm super excited for.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that'll be
It's
fun.
going to make some of these units that end up costing you 3 CP to put in reserve only costing you 1, maybe 2 now for the, like the bloodletters and the banner of blood.
Mhm.
So you're saving yourself CPs.
So I was looking through. So the night preview came out today.
Yeah, the Imperial Knight one.
So I read through that, and they were talking a lot about like detachments. So if we're paying for detachments now, like what are the benefits? Like I remember detachments in 7th. I really loved the Blood Tithe one. I was a Khorne player in 7th as well.
Mhm.
So like you get the detachment for Demonkin, and then you get a guaranteed Blood Tithe point every turn, and you could spend it on 2 things. But you had to take this.
Right.
So I wonder what do we know what the give and take on these things are going to be? I see that they cost CP to use.
Yeah, and most of them So I think what they're doing with that is they're trying to get away from soup.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're wanting to play soup, it's going to cost you CP to play soup.
Yeah. I mean, they blatantly said that.
Totally fine with that.
Oh, absolutely. And because if you put the Warlord in there, it's a 0. But if you take in multiple detachments, then you're starting to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm really curious what they're going to do with the super heavies, because legitimately it's just costing them 6 CP
to play
them.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, when you look at
maybe
it,
they're just trying to reduce the amount of just pure Nightless, which is fine by me. They were garbage anyway, in my opinion. No offense, Matt.
It's okay. Loved every minute of it.
And when you sit and look at it, I mean, even in 8th edition, Knights never had as much CP as the rest of the armies. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Unless they brought a battery.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Knights have already going to get the advantage of potentially going first.
There should be a negative. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. There should be a fairly large negative for the Nightless, and being able to roll in with a loyal 32 and 25 freaking command points in a Nightless. It's like, it was just such trash.
Yeah, and their negative now is they're losing out on half their CPs if you want to play all super heavies.
And that's again, I'm fine with that. People won't do it as much, and those that do, well, they'll find their way with it, but they paid a price. And as long as there's a cost, that's fine.
So you think the give and take is the play, like is this play style versus like you paying CP to get something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Instead of having to pay minimum points to get CP, you're gonna have to spend CP to get more out of your army, which I'm cool with, because I mean, like right now
can you take a Lord of War in a battalion?
No.
Nope.
No, and
so
it looks like
Super heavies.
so. It looks like in 9th, they're only in the super heavy auxiliary and the super heavy detachment. I'm not seeing anything on the Supreme Command, because you can get one of the Supreme Command detachment.
Right.
But there might not be a Supreme Command this time. Because, I mean, it was
Which would be
kind
smart.
of
I highly doubt
Yeah.
that they don't make a Supreme Command, but we'll see.
I don't know if they will. I mean,
They shouldn't,
they
but I don't know that they won't. So.
Right.
and if they do, like, I mean, even in the little preview, it said this is the only two ways you can take a Super Heavy. So they're going to have to adjust the Supreme Command if that's what they're doing anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, either way, I'm okay with it. And I thought it was a little insane with some of the chaos stuff that you could pull off with running a Supreme Command for nothing.
Right.
Right.
You know, and if a Supreme Command is only going to cost you 1 CP, who's not going to take that anyway?
Right. Still good.
Yeah, I'll still take my
Mhm.
battalion, put my warlord over there, and then take 5 characters and Lord of Skulls or whatever in another one, and only cost me 1 CP. Sure, I'll take that all day long.
And then there's so that was, I didn't see much else on the night preview. Was
No,
there much else?
No, there was really. They talked about all of the weapons being blast, really. The rapid fire battle cannon and the thermal cannon and all that.
Yeah,
So,
outside of that, I seen that too, and outside of that, I was like, oh, these are nothing's
It's
changed
really
except for
nothing.
Blast, which was another preview.
yeah, they're doing a lot of that as far as, hey, this preview is getting this, and this army's also going to be good in it. I think I've seen the big games never tire rule in 6 out of the 14 previews now. So
Yeah, that was in the Adeptus. I was just looking at the Adeptus Cerritus one, and I was like, this doesn't belong here.
okay.
Yeah, all right. So then the other preview that just recently dropped was the Drukhari, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and Tyranids.
Did Tyranids drop?
I didn't see the.
I did not see.
Yeah,
Tyranids,
they did a Tyranid one.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think there was anything really special in the Tyranid one. Let me see if I can find it.
So Dan, what's changed with the Drukhari one?
Yeah, so they basically just told us how aircrafts work and how they're the engagement range on them, like the you can move underneath them and all that fun stuff. So that was just kind of a clarification, and then the rest of the stuff for Drukhari was like, oh hi, by the way, here's some more rules that you had in 8th that you'll have again.
You still have.
Yeah, so not terrible. But what they did do is they fixed the thing that was supposed to be really cool with the Dark Eldar was you were supposed to be able to run patrols because you're supposed to be a raiding force, right? And you're supposed to be able to, you were getting, bonus CP and stuff for running 3 patrols or 6 patrols. Well, the problem was every single tournament in every single place would be like, oh, by the way, it's maximum 3 detachments. Well, how do you take a 6 detachment thing, a patrol set, and get your CPs from that when you can't? So they fixed that to a point by just making it so that the raiding force for Drukhari, if you have 3 patrols, you receive 4 CP. If your army increases 6 or more, you get 8 CP instead. So we'll still end up probably never being able to run the 6 because no tournament's going to allow, unless they decide to say, except for Drukhari, who can have up to 6 detachments. But then I guess they'd have to say very specifically if they're all patrols.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, if they did that, then that probably would. I would take 6
Could you
patrol
imagine?
detachments. Absolutely. That'd be really. I'm all for it. I love taking different types. I've always been. You guys have seen my Dark Eldar armies. Typically, they run all 3 types as often as I can. Because I really enjoy all 3 sets. They all do different things. They all do different things for me, and I really like the idea of the Dark Eldar coming in as the raiding force at the 3 different set pieces. Right? I don't like running all shooty Dark Eldar or all witches or all homunculi. I really like the idea of the 3 set, and I think this gives the potential to make that very viable. Whereas I was doing it before anyway, but it was really difficult to do like a spearhead and then a vanguard and then a battalion and have enough CP. You'd only end up with 7 to 9 CP, and you're like, this just isn't gonna work. Not when you're making Vect 4 points, and it's like, oh cool, so I can Vect twice in my army, and I basically have to hold all my CP just for that. At least this gives us an opportunity to have a chance at having a decent amount of CP.
But you won't. but you won't be getting additional CP though, because each combat patrol is 2, right? And so then the first one with your warlord in it is a 0. So if you have 3, you're getting 4 additional. So that just offsets that cost then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But you
it's
still
not,
you
it's
don't
not
have
extra.
to use it on
it just
detach. Yeah.
right. It's just giving us an even playing field where we don't have to pay out for the extra detachments.
Gotcha.
And then, but it basically sets you up to be able to do 3 patrols or 6 patrol lists, and not have to pay an extra price to make them unrunnable. Because no Drukhari list ran 3 or 6 or any patrols for that matter in 8th edition. Like after the first 2 weeks, everybody realized it was garbage.
So I hope they do this for, like, they do something like that, because they kind of did that in some armies for 7th, where, you know, this is the fluff way to play it. If you play this attachment, this is very in that way. I mean, if they're going to do it for Drukhari, I hope they do it for other, you know, other armies too, which I mean, again, not looking at each army individually, I don't know how much that would change for all of them.
Right.
But it definitely is a good, like, here, please play Fluffy.
Right, and that this alone leads me to believe that they are going down that road of more fluffy, which is good. I think that that's a
I
very
agree.
good thing, and that they figured out a way to do that and allow you, like, okay, Drukhari, we came up with this cool idea of letting you be a patrol force, raiding force, and then we just didn't do it well last time. Let's
Mhm.
figure out a way to make it work, so at the very least you're on an even playing field with everybody else as far as that goes. Like, it's not a benefit. There's literally minimal benefit to doing a multi-patrol thing, other than it's pretty freaking cool.
Right, it's cool.
Yeah, I really like the idea of being able to run, and I hope that tournaments allow you to run up to 6 patrols, because I'll run 6 freaking patrols. I think that'd be sweet
Absolutely.
to have, 6 sets of different detachments running around doing crazy stuff with the 3 different armies. We'll see, and most likely, if I had to guess right now, it's gonna end up being at best 3 patrols, and most likely we'll probably just end up going battalions again anyway, because it'll work out that way. Because
Right.
I have zero faith in the system being actually good.
They changed the patrol though, didn't they?
Yeah, so there's, like, I have it up in my screen, for instance. It's 2 CP cost. So like he said, you're basically offsetting the cost of the patrol with the Drukhari benefit. So you're running 3 patrols. You're not paying any CP, and then you get 1 to 2 HQ, 1 to 3 troops, up to 2 elites, 2 fast attack, 2 heavy support, and 2 flyers, which is really good for Dark Eldar, because diversity within those things allows you to kind of do a lot of different mix and match, and not having to run extra HQs is super nice too, because we don't have freaking extra HQs. It's until Drazar became a viable character, you couldn't even do 3 battalions as Drukhari, because you can't have that many Archons. And they literally only have 1 HQ. If you're playing a Cabal force, you can only run Archons, and then you can only run 3 of them. So you had to play a named character in there to get it. And Drazar's the only named character, so the only way to run 2 Cabal battalion right now is 3 Archons and Drazar. That's it. And when he was garbage before, it was like, oh, this is really cool. How about some more HQ choices?
Yeah, it's nice though to be able to have, if you say you do want to run all with just 3 Archons and taking the 3 patrols now, that's getting you 6 elite, 6 fast, and 6 heavy.
That was
which you didn't have that.
We didn't
before.
have that option before.
And
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that makes a big difference for Drukhari as far as that is concerned, because now you don't have to pay that extra HQ tax.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To be able to get
what
those.
makes
The only
amazing.
way you could do before was run Drazar, which is a 100-point model, compared to your 57-point model Archon. So you're paying an extra 50 points. He's basically useless if you're in a shooty army, because he's going to run out there by himself. And then you had, and then again, you were only able to get, your 3 heavy support or your 3 fast attack or whatever. So typically most Dark Eldar armies were taking 1 battalion and then a vanguard or a spearhead, not because that was the most, it's just what we had to do, because that's the only option we had HQ-wise, which is a really stupid way to limit it.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the 2 of each of the elites heavy and fast. I think that's a huge upgrade for them.
I think it'll certainly improve things. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
How it will improve them,
We'll see.
we'll see. We have to see how everything else shakes out, right? And like what
Mhm.
the HQ costs. Like they make an Archon 150 points, we're gonna have a conversation. You know.
Well, I mean, it
So-
makes it viable for any army though too, because I mean, I don't know how many times it was like, man, I want an extra HQ, or I want that, I want an extra. I don't need 3, but I'd rather have just 2
Mm-hmm.
heavy support or whatnot. And now to be able to say, instead of having to take 2 HQs or whatever, it's limiting down to 1 is beneficial to everybody too.
Well, it does make patrols in general more viable for everybody, right? Like
Yes.
not just Drukhari in this sense. They made patrols a part of the game, whereas I don't. Can you guys remember the last time you seen anybody take a patrol ever?
Like
there
right
was
when
just,
it first came out.
Well, yeah, people
Because
were
they were
taking
trying
them
to
because they
sneak
were
those
trying.
extra units that they hadn't built the
Yeah,
army for
I
yet.
would do it with my corn, just so I could put a Crimson Crown and only
Right.
have to pay an extra 78 points for
Exactly.
a Bloodletter squad.
Right. That was about the only thing
Mhm.
people were doing, was just sneaky ways to get stuff in. Whereas now, because the command is a cost thing rather than a benefit, I think that people are going to take them more because, oh, I don't need an extra 2 HQs in a battalion. How about I just buy 1, take my extra 2 heavy supports, etc. I think it definitely makes a more diversified and better system for doing that. There's no question there, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it only costs you 2 CP.
Yep. Which is
I mean,
not that high.
8th edition we're CP farming, so that's why people are running the battalions and
Yep.
min-max squads and all that. In this edition, it's like, sure, I can pay 2 CP to have 2 extra heavy support or 2 extra fast attack, and it makes a little bit more sense to pay that instead of going, oh, man, I'd rather have, or I don't really need a battalion. I don't really want to pay 5 CP to have that second battalion because I only need 2 HQs and I want to run this extra stuff. So it makes it so you don't have to have 2 HQ and 3 troops and then gaining access to other stuff.
Right.
So we're going to see a lot of, I think, changing the way armies are built. And I think this is going to diversify the field that is going to be in the meta a lot.
Yep.
We're going to go back into 7th edition where you might still have your core 5 to 6 units, but people are going to branch off into other stuff, and we're going to see some unique stuff in the armies where you got to think more about how to beat multiple styles and going, oh, I'm playing Raven Guard today. I know I got to deal with snipers, a couple repulsors, and a couple Invictus Dreads, and maybe a Smash Captain and a Libby. Like, I know your list. I know what it does. Now you might see some different things in there.
Yeah.
So
I do like the idea that this is going to hopefully diversify a bunch of stuff. And so, other than that, they gave us like the rule that we had before the stratagem, whatever, eviscerating flyby, which is just basically if you have a unit that flies, you can fly over the top of enemy units, and it will do mortal wounds, which is really great for taking down infantry. Except whatever you were trying to fly over with, now you have to advance to do it. So you couldn't charge afterwards with most units, etc. for that army. So it still continues. However, they made it so that now I believe before you couldn't do it with the guys in the skyboards, which I'm brain farting the name of them, but you can do it. The Hellions. And Hellions were just god awful. Like I've never seen a Hellion played in all of last edition. I played them once.
We were gonna bring him to
friendly.
Adepticon.
Yeah.
I had a squad of 20.
But like I basically had you guys were going for like the we're trying to win the tournament though with them.
Yeah, we were going for fun.
Going for fun and going for look and everything like that. Whereas I brought them to a super friendly thing. Brought like 2 units of like 15 or something like that. They're okay, but they just instantaneously die, and then they didn't have any great abilities. This at least gives them the ability to jump over top of models and do mortal wounds. It's okay. And then they gave us the same witch rule of no escape, where if you try and fall back, we roll off. And I'm sure shard nets are probably going to do the same thing, which is if I have a shard net within the engagement zone, then you roll a die 3 versus my die 6.
Oof.
And if I beat you, so basically I have a 50% chance of you can't fall back ever. And then on top of that, you can, CP reroll or whatever, if assuming that still exists, and you can basically guarantee no one can leave combat with your witches.
Yeah,
with,
I think
with
that's
infantry specifically.
I personally think that's going to be teamed up with some of these stratagems where it's like, oh, you got to pay CP to try it, and shit, you you failed your roll, you get to stay in combat, and it costs you 2 CP to do it.
Right.
That's your face.
I mean, that would be interesting if that's what they decide to go with that.
It could very well be.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, again, not saying it's not. I don't know.
Okay. Because
it was
like
already
right
pretty
now,
good. Yeah, it was already pretty good in 8th with that same ability. I used it several times. The problem was, witches are super squishy.
Oh yeah. I mean that's the same thing with my demonettes.
Well, and the ability
at least your
to
demonettes
have
though were ripping out damage with AP in them. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, you had a 4-up invuln. I don't have that.
Only in close combat. You at least have a 5-up invuln all the time, and you can advance and charge. Halfway across the board, witches got to hitch a ride or drop in.
No, you just got to get your blood shit going, and then you're good.
What?
Your turntable or whatever it is, where you get to run and charge after like turn 3.
Huh?
No, that's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. No, they can re-roll their charges and advances on the second turn. Third turn is you get +1 to weapon skill combat. At no point do you get run and charge. There is a specific detachment of witches that gets,
see, there you go.
But you never take it because it's terrible.
Oh,
In every other regard, it's terrible. The only thing that was good for was use like sending Reavers on a death mission to go engage their entire parking lot worth of units, because you could move Reavers like 35 inches and then charge still. But that's your one-trick pony.
Well, it kept him safe, right?
Safe.
Yeah, Reavers were too expensive when that was still okay to do. But yeah, anyway.
What'll be nice is that if you get these things in combat, you will be less likely to have them standing there with their, shit in the wind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Because people are going to question whether or not they should drop back with the CP, and then whether they can. The witches, being able to get them in combat was never a huge issue for me. I do like the way that they did some of the attachment stuff, where they did mortal wounds and stuff like that on the charge. Those were pretty neat and things, so I hope those return, because I think that actually made witches worth running. But we'll see. Other than that, that's about all they gave you. And then they, like I said, they talked about the flyers and how flyers are basically how they should have been in the first place, where they don't obstruct people and you can't use a wall of flyers to stop people from charging you or moving through you. Oh, it's awful. Awful.
So
the people,
dumb.
even the people who came up with that are just awful people, right? Like,
Making
well, this is the way this works, so I'm going to use it. Like, you should just realize that you should not use that because it's trash. And you're a trash person for coming up with that as a strategy. That's not strategy. That's just being a troll.
Congratulations, you bought 9 flyers.
Yeah.
Guess what that's going to do for you in 4 years? Nothing.
Right.
You will be putting those on eBay, my friend.
Congratulations on your one tournament win.
Oh, that was such a... I hated playing against that army.
It was just dumb.
So the other things I seen them preview was the combat patrol thing, which sounds fun enough that you can finish a whole game of Warhammer in under an hour.
Maybe.
Yeah. I laughed when I read that.
Maybe.
It's good optimism. We like optimism.
Right.
Maybe a year into the game. I guarantee you can't do that right off the get-go.
And then I still haven't seen that much on the new Psychic Awakening book, Pariah.
Pariah?
They released the table of contents.
Yeah. The Pariah looks like it's Necron heavy.
It's fluff. And it's not even Necron heavy necessarily. There are a couple of the new characters in it, but the Necron stuff doesn't drop until 9th.
Yeah, the only Necron in there is Zera.
The new dude.
It's the only rules we're getting for...
Is this Lord Inquisitor using a Eldar weapon?
Yeah.
There's a couple of them in there that are doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
I
kudos, I guess.
I have to admit, I got tired of seeing the meme of the Harlequin guy and his static pose. I'm thinking, he is like stepping forward. There is like an imposing presence about him. Like, just because he's standing in a certain way doesn't make him completely like useless and static or whatever. I haven't decided how I feel about that Sister of Battle either. I haven't seen any rules on her yet either.
She looks actually neat though. That's a dynamic pose, a cool base, neat looking model. Her cloak looks like it's doing some really anti-physics stuff. But anyway, the Harlequin looking dude just looks dumb. Like, this guy just looks dumb.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look. And I think a lot of it, though, for me at the moment, looking at this picture of it, has to do with the paint job. Like, why did you checker everything?
Everything.
Like, you could have done a really cool paint job with like a a red scheme or one of the other. Because again, this guy is supposed to be Imperium, right?
He looks more like an Age of Sigmar model.
He does. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I see what they were trying to do. They were trying to do like the cyberpunk, stepping on the Matrix type thing, right?
Yeah, it was like this could be Neo.
Yes.
Right. That looks pretty neat. Not really sure how it's relevant to the game, but whatever. Still looks kind of neat. But then checkering everything is like, what made you decide to go checkers with blues? I don't know. It's really, whoever painted that model sucks.
But I mean, so like beyond that, have we seen rules for these guys?
No, nothing yet.
No, there hasn't been any more information.
Like I said, I'm playing Sisters, and I want to see that Pariah book just to see, because they're getting. Are they just getting a character, or are they getting a few more rules? Because I know they did that faction focus, but I can't imagine, like, how is Ninth going to release and not have to refresh all the codexes if they keep previewing these different stratagems? I mean, are we going to get indexes again?
Man,
honestly, I hope we
do
get indexes, because the index time frame when it was just indexes for like that month and a half was the best Warhammer of last edition, in my opinion.
Wild West.
Like, it was the most balanced, it was the most fun, it was the most like where you didn't feel like you were just getting eaten alive by some net list garbage.
And most people had all the rules.
And you knew your rules, because it was okay, here's this one small section of your book. Mm-hmm. And it was very simple. I don't know. I had the most fun with that, as far as like it was good diversity, but it wasn't overly so. And then the creep is just out of control in this game every single time.
I hope the app will help with dealing with the creep. I don't think it's going to ever prevent.
They do creep on purpose so they can sell models. I mean, come on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, well, sorry. Let me restate the bloat. The bloat gets real hard to deal with.
I agree with that.
It's so much, and like right now, like to go to a tournament, I'm looking at my codexes right now. If I was to take Chaos, even my 1,000 Suns, I'd have to take a Psychic Awakening book, the other campaign, the Vigilus Ablaze, my 1,000 Suns book, maybe, and probably a Demon book. And that's on top of the main rules, and it just gets to be so much.
Yeah, you're carrying around. Dude, I was looking at all my Warhammer stuff to when we were still thinking that there might be some tournaments that we were gonna go to or whatever, and it was like a backpack full. It was like like being in high school again with an entire backpack of all your books, and it's just like, this feels excessive, right?
Yeah.
Like
I got 9 books right now for Chaos.
That's crazy.
Easily 9.
It's crazy that you have to bring with you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's going to turn into more of an ebook culture with it too, where you're going to tablet everything. Like I now use everything in ebook form because it's just so much more convenient.
Well, Dan, you have a lot more experience with the Age of Sigmar app. Like I used it when it was in like the first edition of Age of Sigmar. And I thought it was great because anytime they put FAQs or anything in there, it just went into your app.
Yeah.
Like, as of recent, do you feel like... Because, I mean, I feel like Age of Sigmar could be, I would say, bloat-ish. I wouldn't say bloated because it's nothing like 40K. Right. They have a lot of stuff. Like, did they feel the pressure of that bloat?
I'd have to ask Adam more for that specifically, but it definitely feels like it's not as bad. One thing that they did do that was really nice for when because I've only played a few games of Age of Sigmar, but Adam, when he switched over, you have those cards that have like,
Oh,
okay,
right.
this is this unit. Like for instance, Pink Horrors. I played Tzeentch at the tournament we went to, and he's like, okay, here's your Pink Horrors, here's your leader guy, here's this, and he gave me all the cards, and it was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, the
All the
reference
rules,
cards.
all the rules were in there for each
That's
one,
nice.
and they were basically like, front back, 2 little card pages. But it was just like index card size, like a 4x6 piece of cardboard, but it gave you all the information. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is really nice. And even if they put on like the back of that like a little section for like taping on FAQs or something like that, as they came out, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Like just a piece
Right.
of glue or tape or whatever. But those were really nice for new players, especially for me at that time, because I had no idea even how to play the game. So Adam's basically teaching me on the fly while we're playing. So
I think they did that for one 40k army, and it was the one that needed it the least. I think they did it for Knights, didn't they?
might have been.
I think Imperial Knights had cards. So
Yep.
cool, I got my 6 cards.
Yeah, they had the data cards.
I feel like it was the only army that got them in 8th edition, which I'm with you, Dan. When I played for a very small window, and I played the Khorne, what is it, Blood Bound or whatever, and I bought the whole stack of cards, and I would just bring my whole army with me, and I could set it out there, and if somebody had a question, I hand them the card instead of saying, here's a codex, and
Yeah.
let me find it, and
That was beautiful. Like you could just
Sure.
flip through cards. Boo, 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 okay, here you go, and you're good. And that is just, man, it's so nice.
no kidding.
They were
I-
good fire starters.
Always a hater. So, all right. Well, what else? What else is going on? What else is going on in the game of Warhammer?
In the Psychic Awakening book, there are 20 pages of fluff. Looks like 9 pages of new missions, which there's only there's 3 missions, and then one like specific campaignish style mission. There's the Index Inquisition, which is going to include, was it 1, 2, we have 3, 4, 5, 6 different Inquisitors, all named characters, and one of the Malleus Inquisitor and Terminator armor,
Ooh.
and then a regular Inquisitor. And it's got new rules for the Jericho Weaponsmith,
Oh, the little
Acolytes,
monkey.
and the Demon Hose. And then there's War Gear Points Value, Warlord Trait, a new Psychic Discipline, Relics, new Strats, and a Name Generator. And then there's
I'm just gonna throw my money at the name generator.
3 pages of Heroes and Villains, which
Name
includes the Ephriel Storm and Kygonel, the Bloody, or of the Bloody Tears. Those are going to be like the Dark Elder or whatever dudes.
I'm gonna have to ask you to say that one again.
I'm not saying it again. No. And then it's got Xeris, and he's 1 page. And then it looks like another 20 pages of Theaters of War, which are different types of worlds. So it's got Hive World, Forge World, Necron Tomb World, Webway, Devour, Demon World. So it's just more fluff. And probably pictures.
So nothing for sisters or anything in there.
Nothing. No,
Oh.
it's a
Cool.
this
Hey,
is the end.
thank you. You saved me a lot of money there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
this
it.
is legitimately, there's nothing in this book that's even worthwhile, because I can almost guarantee Xeris is going to be in the Necron Codex too. So, and if he's not, I would be pissed as a Necron player to be like,
Oh,
you're going to
yeah,
make me buy another $40 freaking book
Yep.
for Xeris. Sorry, I will illegally download that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all they're doing is promoting it with that kind of stuff.
It's like, that is unacceptable.
Speaking of the download, I think it's gonna be kind of cool. From what I've heard, is the app if you buy the book, you can get the download for free in the app for the codex. I
You
love
got
that
it.
idea.
Yeah.
It's something they've needed to do for a while,
Oh,
and it's not
absolutely.
costing them any money.
Because again, with that small window that I played with the app, I mean, building lists was easier. And again, it all like as the FAQs came, it corrected things. It had all the points in there already. Like it only makes sense that they do that.
I definitely like that they had the FAQs and stuff coordinated right in with the app. I still like my hardbound copies. I mean,
Sure.
even if it's just to fill my bookshelf.
There is something to be said about hard copies of books.
Yeah, I still have all my books all the way dating back to third edition. I have third
Exactly.
edition all the way up, all the codexes
Yeah,
and everything else.
I have a shelf of I don't know. There's got to be at least 100 Warhammer books on here.
Yeah,
All,
I mean,
the,
those
way,
are
all
just
the way up to third edition. Like I mean,
yep, codexes and everything.
I have there's a closet here with a shelf that goes. I have like it's just silly stuff. Tomb Kings, Necrons, Battlezone, Vampire Counts, Imperial Guard,
man.
and like I'm talking like the original freaking super thin. Like this thing's got to be like what is 30 pages? This is 43 pages.
Magazine.
Yeah, the paper bound books.
Right.
Yeah.
See,
I used to have a bunch of those, but then Kenny wanted them all for fluff, so I gave him a bunch.
Nice.
And then I used I'm looking at Wrath of Magnus, that big, thick double book thing. I
Mhm.
made a dice rolling tray out of that. I think I showed you guys that.
I need to do that with my the bits ordering book when you used to be able to buy.
Oh man,
with that
I loved that.
was a
that
good
thing
pick.
was
Oh my
3
god,
inches thick.
how long would
It
you
was-
sit there and look at that darn thing?
Oh, I still do.
Oh yeah, Yeah.
Still do. That
like
thing
man, this is
so
the
fun.
day. That was the day. But that was back when the Games Workshop stores had those giant Tupperware not Tupperware, the big bins of metal bits.
Yeah,
And
that
you
was
could
the
sit
Rogue
there and
Trader
die
era.
of lead poisoning while you're flipping through it to find your bits.
So
Yeah.
that was Rogue Trader era, and what
Yeah.
I remember going in as a Rogue Trader myself and actually running events, where you got a special discount where you basically could go up and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this certain stuff," and they'd say, "Okay, here's the bin. Go through it and look." And you paid for it by the pound. It wasn't by
Yes.
the model. It was because they were
Just by the pound.
Sweet.
mis-sculpted stuff or something that was just a little skewed that you'd never even notice.
Right.
And I actually think
forgot
that's
about
where
paying for it by the pound. That's right.
that's
That was the best part of it.
Yeah, that's how Crawley
That's
got
awesome.
into his Sisters of Battle. He bought an entire Sisters of Battle whole army of pewter for like $120.
Oh man.
I remember that. That was awesome. But yeah,
so
you
knocked
really
out all the-
you had to be careful because you were digging through it.
yeah, you're dealing with nasty pewter and it
Pokey.
stunk and
Oh, it did too.
it had
Yeah.
shards
Love
on
that
it, so you
pewter.
could get stabbed and yeah, it was.
Love it.
Oh man, some of those days you wish they could bring some of that stuff back, but I don't know how they would. It'd be stacks and stacks of sprues with a
It'd be
bit
so
on it.
much, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it would have looked like my basement last week before I cleaned it out.
I had to build cabinets for my basement to fit all of that crap, and even then I threw a whole bunch of it out.
Yeah, I ended up cutting everything off of sprues that I wanted to keep, and I filled up both of my City of Lansing recycle bins full of sprue. And I'm talking, they're 3x3x5. I mean, these things are huge. I filled it from top to bottom with sprue, and I was like, "Wow, I got a lot." And then I opened up my closet, and I'm like, "Oh, that was about half of it."
Still got some.
Like, this is so much stuff to go through, but
Yeah. If you could not tell my wife, I'll come over and help you clean it up.
yeah, I mean, it's
She'd
It's
kill me
out.
if I came home with more stuff.
yeah, but I mean, the amount of stuff that I found, I didn't know. Like I told you, I
right.
found 4 boxes of Demonette that were just still on sprue outside of boxes.
I think
I
the
found-
gold was the beetle.
I found an Alarial beetle. Yeah, who knew I had that one? What else did I find? I found a full Imperial Knight. I found 2 Bloodthirsters. 2 random Bloodthirsters full of sprue. I'm like,
That's
okay.
awesome.
Must have pulled them out to grab an extra axe or something, and just said, "Oh, I'll get to him later." He just got lost in the mess. Yeah, just the amount of
Sounds right.
random garbage I found in that stupid pile.
You get a paint rack.
I have a paint rack, not like that, but
Yeah,
I
that's
have.
epic. That's an epic setup. Yeah.
I don't have that much paint. I got a lot, but not that much.
It's fun. If you need any, let me know.
Yeah, I'll definitely be hitting you up probably here.
Got a lot of airbrush colors here.
I don't use their airbrush paint
Why not?
That's yeah.
because I'd rather
good.
buy a full pot of it and then thin it myself.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they've already pre-thinned it, and they're going to charge you the same price for a thinned as non-thinned. So you might as well get double your value and thin it yourself. Yeah,
A lot
I
of
try.
people
I
that put
know.
them in those dropper bottles, they put the medium in there too.
Yeah,
And yeah, you're getting a lot out of that too.
yeah,
I like that
that's,
idea.
That's what I mean. There's
Yep.
no reason not to do those in comparison.
So, all right, guys. Well, good chatting and hanging with you guys.
For sure, man.
Definitely.
All right. Yeah, I mean, if we don't have anything else, we'll go
Quick
ahead
one.
and call it a day. Thanks for everybody for coming and hanging out with us. Hope you
Thanks.
enjoyed it and learned a couple things here. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, check us out on Twitch, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Have a great day.